Lake Lanier is a very large lake, and there are all of these small little islands that are positioned about that you can actually take your boat to, you can camp at, and some of these places have cabins. Now, there was this guy named Ryan. Ryan said that every summer, him and his friends would go out to Lake Lanier to their friend's father's cabin, and they would stay and spend like a couple days. Well, this particular summer in July, they decided they would go out to the cabin and spend 5 nights there. Well, in order to get to the cabin, you have to get on a boat. You have to take it a half a mile and then get on the dock and then go out to the cabin. So they make it there, and later that night, they got a big campfire going. They started to do a little bit of drinking and they were having a good time when they decided to go down by the dock. As they're all hanging out on the dock, screaming and laughing, they hear a loud splashing sound, which sounded kind of like a fish jumping in the water. And at the time, they thought it was a fish. Hey, we should go get our fishing poles. And they start looking around to see if they could figure out like where the weights in the water was. But as they look out, that's when one of the friends says, "What is that? Like, what is that?" And they are all directed towards something in the water. And it is lit up by the moonlight. As they take a closer glance, they can see what looks like a head with its chin above the water. It has this black stringy hair, pale white face, and it didn't have any eyes. And they're like, "No, that can't be real. Like, what is that?" And, they're just confused. Like, why is there like a head just chilling in the water? Well, they started discussing amongst themselves, like, maybe it's just some kind of bird, like a loon, and it's dunking its head in the water and it just looks like a head. And they're like, yeah, that's probably what's going on. So they go back to the cabin and they start drinking some more. Well, Ryan has to use the bathroom. So he walks back out to the dock and he starts going. He looks over in that direction where they had seen this head, and he sees the head again. Except this time, it is closer to the dock. And it's just sort of looking at him, moving its head back and forth. But it's staying stationary. It is not moving through the water. It is not floating. And he's like, how can this thing still be there? So he runs and gets his friends, and it's like, the head is still out there. And they're like, this cannot be real. Like, this isn't happening. Well, they discuss it amongst themselves again, and they say, you know what? It must just be like some kind of log or sticky for a head. So they go back to the cabin again, and they decided, all right, let's go to bed. So they go into their rooms, and it was a really hot night, so they had the windows open, and they all fall asleep. Well, that's when Ryan awakes to what sounds like footsteps outside of the cabin. And this went on for like 5 or 10 minutes, and whatever it was, it sounded like someone was pacing back and forth between the cabin and the dock. And that's when all of a sudden, Ryan's friend comes running in his room and is like, we got to get out of here right now. We have to leave. And he's like, why? What's going on? He's like, just come on. We have to leave. We have to get out of here. And he's like, well, just tell me what is going on. And he's like, well, I was asleep in my bed and I woke up. I went to turn over. And when I looked out the window, I seen that head that we seen in the water with its chin kind of lifted above the windowsill looking at me. And he's like, we need to get out of here right now. So they all left the cabin. They got in the car and they started to drive away. And that's when his friend, just started freaking out, and he was crying and was like, what was it that we seen? Like, what is that? What was it? And it just didn't make any sense to him. And they left and got out of there. The next day, they told the person's father who owned the cabin. He went out there, he checked, he didn't find anything. But still to this day, Ryan says that friend was affected by whatever he's seen that night.